clever or whatever the case, I always put like, and I don't know, I put it all caps, but I put like multiple exclamation points. It's weird how I keep struggling to say that word every now and then. Like I know it's exclamation, but for some reason my mind, or my mind wants me to say exclamation. Or even explanation. Weird. Whoa, they never kicked me out of the league. Whichever league I'm in. Elite Corps. All league proficiencies are active. Enjoy the boost. Oh, excuse me. Man, that Coca-Cola. Well, at least I have access to add and withdraw stuff from one bank vault, and can at least add stuff to the second and third vaults. Amen. Alright, time to enjoy some good fried chicken and Coca-Cola.
My own body. Now Circe must have promised her Wonder Girls. Knowing Giganta, her greed and impatience will lead her to rush the ritual. Go carefully. A mistake could condemn them both.
Aye aye, Wonder Woman.
Please help me out. My squad is in there, and who knows what that Circe person and her monsters have done to them. I'd go in myself, but I got a wife and kids. Did you find them? What am I gonna tell the commissioner if I come back without my men?
Maybe hide if you're so worried about your wife and kids, maybe hide somewhere a little less obvious, maybe. Now, if I remember, out of all of Wonder Woman's enemies, I think the only one that I know of out of her most famous enemies, who not only has a grudge against her, but has a bit of an obsession with her, whatever, any extent, would be Cheetah. Specifically Minerva. Because the Silver Age Cheetah, Deborah Domain, from what I remember, she didn't have a obsession with Wonder Woman. She was under a mind control by some dude who wore like a cobra mask, who was part of a cult. And since Deborah Domain happened to be wait, did I just run something on this thing? Yeah, take that, General Tinnitus, or whatever the hell your name was. There we go. Anyways, Deborah Demain, she was under a mind control, so she's like the only one who didn't become cheetah willingly. Unlike Sebastian Ballesteros, whatever. Minerva and Stella Rich. Like for her, it was completely like no option. She had no option. She had no choice. I don't know if by the end of the Silver Age, going into the Bronze Age, if Minerva, or no, if Debbie Domain was like freed from her mind control prior to Minerva becoming the new cheetah. Because unlike Debbie and Priscilla, who they were just regular women with no powers on their own, they just wore costumes, and that was it. Whereas Barbara, she actually had powers. Her powers coming from magic. And then Sebastian, well, he somehow managed to convince Kataga to take her powers and give it to him instead, saying that he would be a superior avatar of the cheetah spirit. I remember there was someone on a website who was making a critique of the different cheetahs, specifically Sebastian, and how the idea of him and man taking the cheetah powers and somehow convincing Kataga to give Barbara's powers to him made no sense, because Kataga, even within DC's own lore, requires a wife, specifically a virgin. So he was more than willing to accept Minerva's sacrifice because she was a woman. Therefore, she was made a bride for him. But since she wasn't a virgin, that's why she was like a creature in a constant state of bloodlust when she became the cheetah. But outside of her cheetah form, when she's human, she experienced pain to the point where she had trouble moving around her own home. And that was only fixed when Minerva came along later. Why, thank you. Cersei came along and gave some kind of magical potion or magical spell that she cast, giving Minerva the ability to transform between her human form and cheetah form at will, and she was no longer in a state of pain when in her human form, and had better control of herself thanks to Cersei's spell. Oh yeah, time to enjoy some fried chicken. Man, the fried chicken they sell at Food Co is always so good.
I know you will reach her. We trust in you.
Alright, thank you for the encouragement. Now, why can't more of the villains that you meet as, or more of the menus you meet when you play as a villain, why can't they be a little more encouraging?
I have already begun the ritual with a few minor improvements. Now I will transfer my powerful mind into Wonder Girl's body, and the strength of the gods will be mine!
Ugh! What's happening? It's like you've got hooks in my mind.
It's working! It's working! I feel her power! Your body is mine!
The body of a demigod, not just any demigod, but the demigod daughter of Zeus, combined with the powers of Giganta. Not a great combination for any opponent. Although what's interesting was this, if I remember, this game came out and had this mission before the New 52,
Goodness, because there's no way
and before the New 52,
your giant behind.
Wonder Woman was originally she was just some clay that her mother Hippolyta had taken and carved into the form of a baby, and was then blessed by the Greek god with life to become
I get angry, I
Become,
get elemental.
Wonder Woman, or well, Diana, who would later become Wonder Woman. So at the time of Cassie's debut, she was the only one out of the Wonder Women, or Wonder Ladies, who was actually the daughter of Zeus. Wonder Woman didn't become the daughter of Zeus until New 52.
Back in my own skin again. You really don't appreciate how awesome your boots are till you walk around in someone else's. I'll take care of Big Bertha here. Thanks again.
Circe's Wonder Girl has
Excuse me.
failed. Knowing Circe, she will simply turn her eye to other targets. But we will be ready for her. My thanks. We will speak again soon.
Didn't I have a cape for this one? I'm gonna say gape, well. Oh yeah, what was the last game I was streaming just today? It was Resident Evil 3. I was talking about Sonic for Hire and its version of certain characters like Kirby. Like how they took Kirby, made him to this bloodthirsty psychopathic killer. The only other character who I could think of who's like him, and I already said this as well, is Carnage. Like yeah, you got people like Joker, but Joker does it all while claiming, or like to him, it's all just for the sake of comedy. Like he the way he does things, he does it in a way that's meant to be funny. At least in his mind, it's meant to be funny. Whereas for Carnage, he doesn't do it for comedy. He just enjoys it. I'm trying to think, what other characters are there like that who just kill for the fun of it, but don't go trying to make like a comedy out of it? Because for Joker, he's the kind of killer who likes to make... He likes to go out of his way to make a game out of everything. Especially when Batman's involved. Try to see if Batman can get to whoever it is he plans on killing, if he can get to them in time. Whereas Carnage has been more the just kill them right then and there. Alright, that's it. Man, I was really getting into it. They was able to get that fried chicken from Food Court. Dude pool. Excuse me.
So, was it weird in Raven's soul self? Ah, never mind. I'm good with mystery. Thanks for all your help. I'll give you a call the next time we put on a show.
Ready for more action? A situation is rapidly spiraling out of control in Little Bohemia. Speak to Dr. Sarah Charles at the 5th Precinct.
I'm sure I have something here that can help you. Take a look.
Patients are rioting all over the Meta Wing at Metropolis General Hospital. LexCorp is trying to keep Metro PD from the scene, so something big is up. Superman wants you to handle it. You'll need this metahuman encasement device for as long as it lasts.
This is Superman. Lex Luthor sponsored a special meta wing at Metropolis General Hospital. Everything points to it being a cover for illegal experiments. Help the escaping patients as much as you can. And then we'll get to the bottom of this.
Keeping your equipment in good working order makes all the difference, as well as making sure you've got the latest, greatest gear. Keeping your equipment in good working order makes all the difference, as well as making sure you've got the latest, greatest gear.
You know, I think when I'm done with this stream, I'm gonna watch some Has-Been Hotel comic book dubs that people do. So I wonder, once the official show comes out next month, how many people are gonna keep doing those? Like making their own fan comics. And people are doing voiceover of those. Because those are all pretty entertaining in their own right. Like, obviously not canon or anything, but still entertaining. I also want to do see if I can find comic dubs of other series. like from Marvel or DC Comics. And maybe manga series too, like My Hero Academia. But I remember for a while, like in the beginning, all the comic dubs for Has Been Hotel was based off of just the pilot alone, since that's all we ever had, until the official unveiling of Charlie's redesign.
5, 4, 3.
Then people started making new fan comics based on Charlie's new design. Then they started doing the same for some of the others, like Baggy and Alistair. There was one that even addressed that, actually. Can't remember exactly how it went. Oh yeah, I remember. Charlie was happy about the new redesign that she got, how she looked, and Alistair was fawning over his. Charlie pointed out how he barely looks any different than he did before. And Alistair goes along about how that's because you can't make any improvements on perfection. And Charlie's just like, if you say so. Anyway, I haven't seen any other comic dubs like that of characters talking about their redesigns. I gotta say, out of all the redesigns everyone got going from the pilot into the official series, the only major redesign that I've seen that I don't like is Velvet. Like, I definitely would have liked something a lot, like much closer to her pilot design. I really liked that one.
Luther to LexCorp. I'm sending in some of our new allies as reinforcements to get our test subjects under control. Oh yes, I understand Dr. Psycho is still inside dealing with our Kryptonian problem. Don't bother extricating him. If he can't survive this on his own, he's not worth saving.
Managed to take some of their records with them. We can't let LexCorp take it.
Huh, guess I already did it already. Also, I remember plenty of people did their own voiceovers, and some of them, and I do mean only some, tried to like imitate the voices based off of what we got from the pilot. Others did their own completely unique take all together, since they didn't really have the ability to mimic the pilot voices. But with the official series coming out, especially with just how different Alistair and especially Huss, I think all of them got new voice actors. I don't think anyone from the pilot got to stick around to voice their previous characters in the official series. Unlike Hell of a Boss, the woman who voiced Millie didn't get to voice her in the official series. They gave Millie a different voice with a much more noticeable country accent, which wasn't a huge loss or anything, because if I remember, that same woman was voicing both Millie and Luna. So even though she didn't get to voice Millie in the official series, she still gets to voice her in the no. She doesn't voice Millie anymore, but she still gets to voice Luna. Also, the woman who voiced Katie Killjoy in the Has Been pilot, what did I say she was voiced for again? Oh yeah, for Glitz and Glam in Hell of a Boss. So I wonder if if Katie Killjoy is going to return in the official series. Because I didn't see in any of the teaser and official trailers, I didn't see anyone resembling her.
In all of their metahuman experiment subjects. The monitoring station is on the hospital roof. Get up there and overload the station so these people can escape.
I literally bit off more than I could chew.
Without that monitoring station, Lex will have to track down those patients one by one. Show his troops there's more to worry about right now. Like facing us.
Clark, what's this us nonsense? I'm the one who's actually over here fighting them, and even when I get inside the hospital to fight Dr. Psycho, it's just me.
Do you have time to help me? LexCorp's gladiator suits are running off a highly unstable power cell. Fatal flaw. Can you collect those power cells?
You know, coming back to HARASSMENT Hotel, I was interested in seeing when the official series would come out. Back when it was like just recently after watching the pilot. The problem is that even long after the pilot came out, my interest in the series, or at least for HARASSMENT Hotel, diminished over time. Which is why for the official series, I'm not really in a hurry to watch any of it. It's kind of the same. I talked about this before during one of my streams, didn't I? But anyways, it's like with Kingdom Hearts 3. I was so interested in Kingdom Hearts 3, seeing the story continue after I got done playing Kingdom Hearts 2. And though out of all the, I've played almost all of the games that came out prior to Kingdom Hearts 3. And so far to this day, Kingdom Hearts 2 is still my favorite. The characters, the bosses, the gameplay, the drive forms, I still enjoy it. It just sucks that Alice's world from Alice in Wonderland, that was in the first game, but unfortunately they never brought it back actually. Not just in 2, but in every other game that came out between 1 and 2 and came out after 2, that Alice herself never returned. But anyways, so with like because of how long it took for us to finally get Kingdom Hearts 3, and now it's the same thing with stuff like HARASSMENT Hotel, how long it took for the actual show to come out. That's why for me, I'm not really, like I said, I'm not in a hurry to catch up on anything related to the actual show. Instead, what I'm gonna do is like try to avoid any spoilers or anything, like any videos talking about what's going on in this show, or even those who may not talk about the actual, who may not try to talk about the lore or anything. they'll just like to do their own power scaling. Because I know there's some people who like to do that. Take shows that aren't like your typical fighting or combat-based shows. Because Hazbin Hotel is not really combat-based. It's an adult musical drama series. But anyways, so I'm gonna just like avoid watching the show and anything that has anything to do with spoilers, and just wait until like the series is done and over with, see how it ends. And that's assuming it's able to like get every episode out. Busy Pop is able to complete the story from beginning to finish instead of it getting canceled or anything happening to her prior to the series ending. And if that ends up being the case, then do stuff like seeing just how powerful Charlie is by the end. If by some weird miracle she manages to succeed at managing to rehabilitate anyone, or if it's gonna end like how some people predicted it, where her plan completely fails due to the incompetence of others she works with, her just not accepting that her dream is just a dream and nothing else. And if she ends up losing her mind and going crazy and unleashing a whole new type of hell that the likes of which not even her own father has seen. Like, those are the only kind of moments I would be looking forward to. Because trying to rehabilitate sinners and trying to get them to be accepted into heaven somehow, there's just no way a plan like that is going to work. So I like to see that if Charlie ends up losing her mind and just goes crazy or insane as a result. Because to me, that sounds a lot more plausible.
Oracle is blocking any more transmissions from Lex's unique point of view. For now, join Supergirl inside. Help the metas and arrest whoever's in charge so they can stand trial for these crimes.
It should go without saying, Lex is very disturbed. But anyway, seeing how the show ends, if Charlie ends up succeeding or she ends up losing her damn mind. All that good stuff is the only thing I'm interested in. Oh, and if any of the recurring characters like die off or anything of that sort.
But still people. They're being processed in tubes so they can be used for their energy. I work for LexCorp, but I'm human too. Get those people out of those tubes.
Someone with a guilty conscience, despite working for LexCorp. And her last name just happens to be Hope.
Have you found all of the trapped patients? They're in there, I promise you.
Why, thank you, madam. But Hazbin Hotel, not Hazbin Hotel, Hell of a Boss, I've been keeping up with, catching just about every recent episode that comes out. But that's because, unlike Hazbin Hotel, Hell of a Boss didn't take years to come out. But part of that is because they released it as a web series. Because when you make a web series, you can release the episodes at any point in time you want to on almost any social media platform, like YouTube. So it should be no surprise that each episode for each season of Hell of a Boss is like months in between all that, considering how, for one, it's a web series. Two, it's meant to be like a secondary series of sort of placeholder, something to keep us occupied while we wait for Hazbin Hotel. Oh, excuse me. Because Hazbin Hotel was clearly Busy Pop's main focus. I just really hope with the release of Hazbin Hotel, like I said before, I really hope that doesn't mean the end of Hell of a Boss. Because I do like that show. I guess because the way they do the drama, it's not in a way that's annoying. And the comedy, I enjoy the comedy of the show.
Chief Researcher's Journal. Always wear insulated gloves when handling cryotechnics.
It makes basically Hell of a Boss mixes comedy, drama, and action very well. Whereas Hazbin Hotel, it said that Busy Pop was she originally planned for Lich and Moxie to be regular characters in Hazbin Hotel, but they're starting to fit the premise of the show. Since Hazbin Hotel is meant to be more focused on the drama, whereas Hell of a Boss is meant to be more comedy focused. So that's why those two appeared in their own series as opposed to being part of the Hazbin cast. And that alone made me lose a bit of interest in Hazbin Hotel all those years ago when I first heard about it. That was going to be more focused on drama, because drama shows just really aren't my thing. Whereas Hell of a Boss, it has its moments of drama, but it has plenty of comedy and action, which I really enjoy. I enjoy a lot more than drama. Like, even the moments that are meant to be drama or thriller, they're still able to do it in a way that's a bit comedic. Because of course Moxie, Millie, and Blitz, they're the main characters, so of course they're gonna survive in the end. Though it's also obvious just from watching the show that out of the characters, like who gets the most focus is Blitz. Blitz is the main character out of the main characters, especially throughout season 1.
Chief Researcher's Journal. These vines are growing so rapidly, I'm worried about them.
Whereas season 2 started focusing a bit on more of the other characters. The other characters getting their own episodes and their own arcs. Heck, the very last episode of season 1, which for whatever reason the Visley crew wasn't able to release originally when they intended, the last episode of season 1, which actually focused on Luna, it was meant to be mainly her episode, but still they also had Bliss showing up and being part of the main focus at some point, or having be part of the part of the conflict in the episode to an extent.
You have no idea what it's like to be me. What gives you
While not necessarily outshining Luna.
Time for you to walk a mile in my shoes. One day, all these heroes will be my slaves. Today, their mere image will be your death.
For the glory of Gaia!
You'll know who's super when I'm... It's time to hit things!
But as I was saying, the fact that the Hell of a Boss did take so long to come out and get an official series, I was like, that's a hotel. Also, the way Hell of a Boss's pilot was pretty interesting. The way they did their pilot was pretty interesting. Because you can take Hell of a Boss's pilot and still regard it in some way as canon, because nothing that happened in the pilot really contradicts with the main show. The only thing that's like really contradicting was just really Millie, as far like her design, which got a minor update, and her voice changing.
Thank you, Dr. Psycho.
But going from the pilot into the main series, you could just say like, oh, Millie was just trying out a different accent, or there was something going on with her throat at the time. Some kind of joke you can make about that.
Thanks again. Maybe we can talk when I don't feel so sick.
Wanna see the world through my eyes? It's easy. Just picture everything you want and can't have, and multiply that 10,000.
Helps explain why he's called Dr. Psycho. Get out of here, Kara. Oh, just check it up on Dr. Psycho. Yeah, I'd be mad too if some dude named Dr. Psycho, a literal midget, trapped me in a bubble like that and poisoned me with something. I'm trying to think, what's another thing where it was something that took so many years to get a sequel out? By that time I lost interest. So let's see, Has-Been Hotel going from pilot to official series. Kingdom Hearts 3, especially after completing all of Kingdom Hearts 2. Actually, yeah, other than Has-Been Hotel and Kingdom Hearts 3, I can't think of anything else that made me lose interest over time. It's unfortunate there are some costumes you just can't wear as a hero or villain, depending on your character type. Like the fact that as a female, I can't wear certain costume pieces like the V-suit. Or how there are some costumes you can only unlock or wear as a hero, but you can't get as a villain. At least that's the way it was for a while, until maybe House of Legends, where you can go in there and buy certain items from both hero or villain vendors, regardless of which allegiance you choose. Look at Bizarro over there just casually walking about, not being a menace to society. I'll be back to kick your ass when I'm powerful enough. At least as far as combat ratings, when they did that dumbass update that nerfed everyone's combat ratings when they go anywhere outside the house. So the default Gotham City, Metropolis, as well as House of Legends, Hall of Doom, and Watchtower, at least those 5 places, your combat rating, oh, and your base, are completely unaffected. It's all the secondary open worlds that are tied to a specific episode. Those and a few of the missions you can do
Star Labs in Metropolis
affect your combat rating.
in at Metro General. As long as Lex Luthor is hurting and exploiting people for his own gain, we will always need heroes like you.
Dr. Sarah Charles, weren't you a white woman earlier?
The East End Police Station.
Whoa, teleportation. Well, like $1,807. Ain't that about nothing? Like my grandpa used to say, when things don't make no sense. Ain't that about nothing?
This is it, the Watchtower. We've retrofitted it a bit for all you new heroes. Green Lantern John Stewart drew up the plans. He's an architect. Just follow your mini-map and activate the consoles. I'll tell you about the place.
Wait, how many people are in here? 88 out of 250.
Nothing a villain uses can possibly compare with my architecture. Let me provide you with guidance.
Don't get so full of yourself. The hell are they talking about in the chat? That gives me an idea. I don't think any of them had any prestige value
I'm
to
very
them.
excited about some of Star Lab's new developments. I'm sure you'll see something useful.
Nope.
If you're working with Superman, then the Meta Wing was designed for you. He's spending a lot of time here with other meta heroes like Flash and Power Girl. Check out the vendor's console for specialized meta-human strength equipment. With your superpowers, you'll need gear that can take as much punishment as you do. This is it, the Watchtower. We've retrofitted it a bit for all you new heroes. The Green Lantern John Stewart drew up the plans. He's an architect. Just follow your mini-map and activate the consoles. I'll tell you about the place.
I wonder how long this took.
Justice League Watchtower was specially designed to help heroes meet and get the equipment they need. It's an unwritten JLA rule that you must gain renown with factions before you can obtain their exclusive gear. Our goal is to create solidarity with the entire hero cause. Each wing in the Watchtower has its own bank. Wayne Enterprises, Queen Industries, and others all contribute to a fund that rewards heroic activity and provides this secure storage for your gear.
I'm gonna hurry up and finish this real quick. It's gonna be a good 2 weeks after this without any processed meat like this. Hit the weights tomorrow. Oh no, wait, tomorrow should be mostly clear. I'm gonna see about heading down to work, see if they have any shifts available. Places like FedEx is a workout in of itself. I'd say like the only bad experience or truly bad experience that I had working at FedEx is like, besides occasionally injuring myself if I'm not careful because of how heavy a lot of the boxes we carry are, it's just the people you can end up working with. Like so far, none of the supervisors has like really stressed me out or anything to the point where I would want to quit or leave or anything of that sort. But, oh well, it doesn't matter. But I would be lying if I didn't admit that some of the people that I worked with, some of the co-workers I've had, were definitely so dang annoying. Although so far it's only been 2. Like this one woman who I worked with who was micromanaging me and everything I was doing. Not being like super condescending, but just acting like she got to constantly tell me what to do. Like as if she thinks I'm 100% new or don't know what I'm doing or something.
See how many you can bring in, and I'll let the question know you're on the case. She's not much of one for crowds, so just check your email. Happy hunting.
But then, the most recent was actually just what was it, last week? A few days ago? Yeah, somewhere around last week. There was this guy I was working with, and man, my issue with him was just how childish and obnoxious he was. But he kept playing off everything he was doing like as if he was just messing around. I can't stand people like that, where they're obviously being passive aggressive, making accusations.
There is a daily alert requiring your attention. Check your communicator for the details.
And treating you like as if you're not as smart or as bright as them, or treating you like you up to something, making accusations, but they will just play it all off like it's a joke. There's something about soda that just tastes much better out of a glass than out of a bottle. I remember there was back when Vines used to be a thing. Little white kid who made a video where he had a bottle of Pepsi. He was like, a bottle of Pepsi? A Coca-Cola glass? I don't give a dang.
The power in Larfleeze's ring is the exact opposite of the true spirit of the holiday season. Recover the stolen holiday goods and show him what the holiday season is really about. Generosity.
I don't celebrate pagan holidays like Christmas. Besides, I'm just doing it for the resources and for the experience points anyways. Oh, excuse me. And where was I? But yeah, like I said, this dude was just so obnoxious and childish. And almost every time he would say something, and before I could respond, he'd be all like, shut your ass up. It was like, he was black too, but he was constantly ending, every time he would say shut your ass up, N-word. And it's like, yeah, I get it, you're black, I'm black, but I don't like Like, just because I'm black doesn't mean I like using a racial slur like the N-word so casually like that. That's just not how I am. Can't believe y'all play this whack ass. Just say ass, man. As long as it's not a racial slur. I don't get people who do that. Talking all kinds of crap, saying this game sucks, or that anyone who plays this game is pathetic, or how they can't believe anyone plays this game. It's like, you're playing this game too. You don't get to act like we're all the bad ones when you're here with us. That'd be like if someone was in hell criticizing everyone else there, and it's like, well, you're here with us, burning.
If you're looking to immediately take out some villains, you'll find Hawkman and Cyborg here with the latest intel.
She says that, but I never bothered to visit Hawkman or Cyborg. When I get to level 30, I'll increase my CR.
Looking to bring the fight to our enemies? Good. Sometimes you just need to crush villainy where it stands. If you're looking for experience on the battlefield, come to me, or queue up through your communicator. I'll have a new battle every day.
Thanks for checking in, but I haven't got anything for you right now. Maybe when you get a little more experience under your belt.
Do you dare talk to me, Captain Cosmic? A demigod that way? Sir? I almost said boy, but I was like, nah, I can't call him a boy. But anyways, that guy I worked with who, like, that's like, actually that's only the second time, because I've been working, when I first started working with FedEx, excuse me, it was April of last year. So about a year and, so April, May, June, July, August, September, October, December. So a year and 7 months. A year and 7 months I've worked there. And so far, this guy that, like I said, was so annoying and obnoxious, that's like twice so far I've been irritated by someone to such an extent where I had to tell a supervisor to not put me in another truck with that person ever again.
Want to refocus your skills to refine your edge? Take a look.
Because, like, I had to tell my supervisor, I could not tell if that guy was legitimately passive-aggressive, like he had something against me, and was just pretending to make everything a joke just to avoid getting in trouble, or if he thought he was being funny, and that was just his favorite way of joking around. But either way, being passive-aggressive for whatever reason, rather if you legitimately feel that way, or if you're quote-unquote just joking, like some people will use as an excuse. Because that's all it was, just an excuse to keep behaving so childishly. I'm like, this dude clearly has not fully grown up yet, like at all. Like we're all mainly here to work. Like let me be able to work in peace, not listen to you accusing me of stuff or talking to me like I'm the one who's a child. And then anytime you say something stupid and I try to respond, I don't even respond with any hostility. I just try to keep the conversation casual and that's it, non-hostile. But then for some reason, as soon as I try to make any kind of casual response or just talk in general, he would just respond quickly before I can even talk with "shut your ass up, N-word." Like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Cannon's the name. Mickey Cannon. I'm the director of Project Cadmus, and I'm here to help all you meta folks get the hang of research and development. A little know-how about your gear and yourself can help turn the battle in your favor. Once you get yourself some plans and some components, you can use this R&D station to fix up lots of things. Here, take these items. They'll help you get going.
You're doing a great job out there. The Lords of Order, Project Cadmus, and Magnus Robotics have stepped up to offer a hand. Why don't you go chat with Mickey Cannon in the Meta Wing? He's the director of Project Cadmus and can give you the lowdown on how to get an edge with research and development.
Now, what that dude that I don't know what his reason for being so childish was. I guess he figured we're both grown adults, and therefore he would assume that his brand of comedy, what he found funny, he would go, or he assumed that I would be okay with, and figured that just because he's black and I'm black, he could use the N-word in a casual manner, ending it with the A sound instead of the hard R, which still doesn't make it okay with me. But I guess he just figured he's black, I'm black, so I would be okay with all that. But in reality, I was just trying my hardest not to blow up at him. Because, like, I don't want to create no unnecessary conflict. Because for all I don't know if the guy's part of a gang, or even if he's not part of a gang necessarily, but if his group of friends are violent people or not, or if he'd be the kind to wait for me outside of work to start some shit with me. Especially when, like, I don't have a car to get to work. I gotta walk. I'd rather not take any chances getting into any fights with anyone. I ain't about to lose my job over some idiot. So it's like, I just let the supervisor know, like...
Just what I wanted!
I just tell them, don't put me in the same truck as this person. Like, I'll continue doing my job and work as I'm supposed to, but do not make me work with this person. Oh, excuse me. And so far, that's only 2 people I've had to ever do that with. And the guy I was just talking about was the most recent one around last week. And this was 2 different supervisors I had to tell that to. And both of them were very accommodating and understanding about it.
These are mine.
Know that every Orange Lantern you fight, besides Larfleeze, are all people that Larfleeze himself has killed.
It's all mine!
Get away from me.
Honestly, that makes it more disturbing. Like, it is very much in character with Larfleeze being so greedy that he is literally the only Orange Lantern. So, to simply make up for it, his ring allows him to create a projection of all of the people he's ever killed. So that's all it is, just an ability of his ring. They're all just constructs. Like almost semi-sentient constructs that are able to act on their own, but they're like Larfleeze, extremely greedy and selfish. Just not enough of a free will to be able to rebel against him. So it's like I said, they're only semi-sentient, they're not fully like their own people. Just hard holograms, or no, solid holograms based off people he's already killed. But yeah, that guy who gave me such a headache, got on my nerves. It's not even him, but I've worked with plenty of people like that, where it's like they're grown adults, some of whom were even older than me, but despite them being physically the age of an adult, their habit is to just act so childish and obnoxious, like as if they have no other personality type. Just
Commissioner Gordon needs your help in Gotham. Meet him at the East End police station.
Well, anyways, like people who just they make being obnoxious, annoying, and as they say, playfully confrontative or playfully aggressive, or just aggressively playful, part of their whole attitude. It's like, no, that's not a quirk. That doesn't make you quirky. It makes you annoying. That's more of just someone who's got some kind of mental problem going on, but they don't want to admit it.
2, 1, go.
And it really makes it irritating for people like me, where I enjoy comedy, and even I have my moments of childishness, but not to the point where I am purposely going around annoying people and being passive aggressive and just playing everything off like it's a joke and acting like the other person's in the wrong for not smiling at everything I say and do. But at that point, you got some kind of mental problem going on, like narcissism. And not only that, I think that dude from last week, I think he was also paranoid. I think he probably knew, or some part of him knew, that I was gonna report him, or planning to report him, because in the middle of us working together, emptying out a truck, all I did was just ask what his name was. And I remember he said "nice try," or say something like how I thought I was slick. And it's like, I told him, no, if I remember, I think he asked me my name immediately afterwards, and I told him my name. But he just refused to tell me his. And I'm thinking, the fact that you're so paranoid, you can't even give me a first name. That just shows again that he must be aware to some extent that the way he's acting is annoying. So that's probably why he didn't want to tell me his name, because he didn't want to risk being reported. But it's like, if that's the case, then maybe just stop acting so immature. That's usually how I try to go about things. That's why almost every time, whenever I'm assigned to a truck I have to unpack or unload, and I'm working with someone, I usually just tell them that I have my moments where I tend to be talkative, so if it's irritating, just let me know. And so far, everyone who I said that to has just told me that they'll just say, "Oh no, you're alright." And that's usually about it. I'm like, cool, good to know. Cause like when I'm working, I like to be able to talk and conversate with people and make jokes. But if I notice that person's not really responding back, then usually I just stop. I'll only say something every now and then. But that's about it. I don't go out of my way to be obnoxious and annoying. Unlike some people where they're physically adults, but mentally, psychologically, and emotionally, they act like children. You know, Batman's not wrong for having those contingency plans. When you're one of the very few non-superpowered people in a team full of superpowered individuals whose powers are in the universal to multiversal range, and heck, some don't even need to be that strong to be. You don't need to be that powerful to be stronger than an ordinary human. Your strength could be like building level, or higher like city block, and you'd still be a major threat to people like Batman, whose strength would only be a wall level at the most. So you can't blame him for having all those contingency plans. Like, it was addressed in Justice League do in the animated film, where one of them accused him of having those plans ready to kill them, and he said, not kill, just what was the word? Not decapitate. I can't remember. Well, anyways, just something to render them
Batman
powerless.
says you're the one to solve the situation we've got down at Amusement Mile. Move out.
Rather if that means like rendering them powerless, taking their powers away, or just be able to defeat them in combat, and that's really about it.
Anything in particular you're interested in purchasing today?
And towards the end of that film, Batman ends up leaving the team because they were still unhappy with all the contingency plans he made for them in the first place. And Batman was just basically like, fine, if you want to act like you're so perfect, so flawless, that you're not capable of your powers getting out of control, or someone stealing your powers, or us running into people with powers similar to our own. Because that was one thing, I think even in comics they don't acknowledge that often. The other members of the League somehow also forget that there are others out there with powers exactly, if not very similar, both in ability and in function to them. Like for Superman, there's other Kryptonians out there. For Wonder Woman, her powers, her fighting ability, is a lot more common than she thinks. Not to mention, there's a whole island of Amazons like her. Yeah, not all of them are the demigod daughter of Zeus, as of New 52 onwards. But still, very similar abilities and fighting styles to her. And Martian Manhunter, be it his own brother Maleficent, or white Martians in general, just shows that there's other Martians out there, green or white. Not to mention Barry Allen, whose powers come from the Speed Force, and then there's others who with powers very similar, like Reverse Flash or Eobard Thawne, with the negative Speed Force, which it has its own unique set of abilities separate from the positive energy that the Speed Force has. So again, rather they're a conduit of the positive or negative Speed Force, doesn't matter. They're still very much capable of being a threat to others around them.
Look, the more injectors out there, the more people can mainline Venom. Grab those injectors, will ya?
Hey, even Batman himself at the end said himself, like Superman was all like, interesting how you created contingency for everyone except yourself. And Batman said, I do have a contingency. It's called the Justice League. That's because like Batman understands himself. He has no superhuman abilities. He's just a man who trained his mind and body and spirit to the utmost. Of course, he knows that's not exactly unique. There's plenty of others on Earth who have trained themselves to the absolute limit of human conditioning, which still makes them a non-threat to plenty of the superhumans who could take them down easily if they wanted or needed to. So in reality for Batman, the other members of the League wouldn't need to worry about making a contingency plan, at least not to the extent that he did. Since it'd be a lot easier for them to just do that, just take him out. And it's because of that, that's why if they ever get into a confrontation, they don't need to kill him. Just an easy knockout. Or disable.
Bane is back in Gotham. He uses venom to build and then strengthen brutality. And now his gang is selling the take some samples for analysis and get that venom off the streets.
Also, there's been plenty of shows that have had people where they have where they're not DC Comics, they have like similar powers and abilities and whatnot. And some people would watch those videos on YouTube and say stuff like, and people wonder why Batman has all his contingency plans. But in reality, well, no, because part of what makes Batman unique is the fact that even with his peak conditioning, he's still human. He's not even a low-level superhuman like Deathstroke. Yeah, all of his abilities, it's all just him as a result of training himself. Skill and power, or physical power.
These samples are a weaker version of Bane's usual venom. Made a steroid like venom doesn't just build muscles, it can destroy your body. And it smells terrible, I might add.
No one inhaled this stuff, woman.
Season's greetings and happy holidays. Unfortunately, this is a business.
Shut up, Oracle. We're already there. Let's go fight the guy. Oh, it's 11:09.
Hey, it's Oracle. Season's greetings and happy holidays. Unfortunately, this is a business call. The season of giving is being twisted into the season of getting by the Orange Lantern Larfleeze and his insatiable greed. Speak with Hal and he'll give you the details.
So, your turn. This is Amanda Waller. This operation is now under the jurisdiction of Task Force X. For a duration, you will be working with villains from the Suicide Squad to complete the objective. Focus on
Larfleeze has locked himself behind the security door. The excess energy in the building.
Oh my goodness, all these characters trying to talk all at once.
Should be able to get inside. Use those shielded constructs to disrupt the energy.
Shut up, Oracle. Weird, I was thinking to myself, where the heck did that go? You know, sometimes listening to Larfleeze's voice, I be thinking to myself, wait, is that the same voice actor Champa from Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2? That's a lot like when I found out that the guy who voices Lex Luthor in this game particularly, was also the one who does the voice for Zamasu. At least Zamasu in let's see, Zamasu's Universe 2. Specifically, also a few Zamasu. Let's see, Xenoverse 2, Dragon Ball Fighters. I think in the anime for the English dub, he's voiced in there as well. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Dang it! You know, I was about to ask if Greed was gonna even bother helping us or not, but I'm like, nah. Besides, the last time I did something like that, some idiot tried to get an attitude with me and was trying to project. Basically, what happened was, it was this mission we was doing on Gorilla. We had to go to Gorilla Island, fight, who was it? Not Gorilla Grodd, Ultra Humanite. You had to fight him and his minions, and one person didn't join the group for whatever reason. They was on the other side of the map. So me and the two others, because it was a four-man mission, we was fighting Ultra Humanite and whatnot. But then for whatever reason, he didn't join until like the last second. But even before we were almost done, I simply asked him, "Hey, what are you gonna join us or what?" And they just said no. But then they show up and help at the last second. We're just like, alright, they at least showed up eventually and helped. So I wasn't even gonna bother saying or doing anything else at all. But then, even after the mission's done and over with, we got everything done out the way. And then this dang fool, instead of just dropping it, I guess he wanted to hold a grudge. And responded to me, or left me a private message saying, "No wonder you needed someone to carry you in that fight." I'm thinking to myself, the hell is this dumbass talking about? No one was carrying me at all. I contributed way more to the whole mission in general, and even more so to the fight than he did, because he didn't show up for the final boss fight until the last second. So he was the one who was trying to stay on the other side of the map and not bother helping, just to get out of doing it. So I just responded to his comment and said, "Shut up and quit projecting, you stupid degenerate." And after that, I just blocked him, because I'm thinking, I am not putting up with that. Someone trying to accuse me of something they themselves were just doing. I don't care what your reason is. You ain't about to make no accusations towards me, towards something you yourself were literally just doing. Talking about needing him to carry me, when he was the one who was just standing there. I'll take it. I think I just need to do the MetaWing mission on single player as a mission to be able to get this Supergirl boots. Oh, they're not even there at all. Man, 35 for Starro. 35 for a bandana. Why is it 35 for a bandana? What could possibly be so special about a dang bandana that could justify being 35? Why is this one 4 but this one's only 1? Some of these prices, you just can't justify them. Ah, that explains that little weird sound I kept hearing someone doing jump rope. You know, now that I think about it, I think every job I've ever worked, I've had to deal with at least 1 to 2 people being obnoxious and just childish. Like my very first job working at Apple, where it was people being obnoxious, even the higher ups. Like our boss, he was this Asian dude who would constantly complain if the noise inside the warehouse got loud enough. Complaining, saying how he wants to quiet down because the place is loud like a supermarket. And it wasn't just me, but plenty of others agreed how stupid that was. Because they just had us sitting next to each other doing nothing. And I was like, what does he expect? We ain't doing nothing. They keep saying they're going to get us started on training soon. And I'm like, training for what? We haven't done anything for a whole week straight. Just hearing Joker laugh like that in the background. Somewhere in the background. Terrifying. Well, let's see. Yeah, the very first job I worked at Apple. Let's see. That boss of ours was ridiculous. The people I had to work with, not all of them. Plenty of them were actually pretty cool people. Hey, the tick. It was just, for some weird reason, some of the supervisors that I worked for, or that I worked with, was very obnoxious. And a bit conceited. And I don't know about entitled, but conceited would definitely fit some of them. Like in particular, I still remember one of the worst was one of the supervisors. This dude, all I did was ask, he was walking by, and I just simply asked him what time break was. And he didn't even bother to tell me. He was just all like, don't worry about that, man, and just walked off. Like, you wanna act like a little bitch for whatever dumbass reason. And all I did was just simply asked when our break was. Like, don't fucking tell me to not worry about it. Like, I work here. Yeah, I'm getting paid, but I deserve a break. So I have every right to know what time break is. Not to mention the fact that I always said before how they would, for a whole week straight, they had us doing nothing except just sitting down. So I would struggle to stay awake because of that. And I had to deal with not just supervisors, but plenty of co-workers getting on my case, waking me up. And there'd be times where I'm not even asleep. They would assume I am, and then just act all obnoxious, telling me to wake up. Like I remember the last straw for me was one bitch where she hit me on my back and was just all like, "Wake up!" Like saying that with attitude, like she was my parent. And I was like, "I was awake, stupid." And she had the nerve to act all offended. And she went back to where she was sitting on the other side of the aisle. And she was talking with some of her friends and coworkers. And she tried to get my attention again by being like, "Hey, 6'4", because that was the station, that was the number station I was sitting at. And I just ignored it. I'm like, I don't care how offended you think you are. I ain't putting up with any more of your crap. Okay, can my robot psychic not keep dying on me or disappearing on me, whatever the hell's going on with it? Like, how is it this fragile? But anyways, to this day, I have no regrets at all about quitting that job. I'm trying to think. I remember back when I first worked at FedEx. Yeah, back when I first worked at FedEx, I don't think they had OPH or occasional package handler. I think it was you either worked full-time or part-time. And regardless of which one you had, there was an assigned area that you had. And the supervisor whose area I was assigned to, like, I just couldn't stand working for him because he would yell and raise his voice a lot. And he would do things like banging on the belts that we were using to unload the trucks. And he would just get on our case constantly. He'd be like, "God, I keep telling you, back to back, back to back." I'm like, shut the fuck up and let us work. We're getting the truck done in an orderly fashion as fast as possible while trying to also be safe. It ain't like we're just slowly taking our time with every single package. And I still remember the time where I got sick, so I took a week off, and when I came back, he tried to get on my case yelling at me, talking about you can't just be gone for a whole week and just come back like that for no reason. I was like, I was gone because I was sick, I wasn't feeling well. And he yelled saying, "Nobody's that sick." And I got tired of it. I reported him to one of the higher ups, but they tried to play it off saying that he was just probably joking or playing around. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not laughing. Shit ain't funny to me. I don't think anything was done about it. I mean, eventually they fired me. And I don't think it was because of him, but damn was that guy obnoxious. And that was many years ago when I first worked at FedEx, back in like around... Yeah, sometime like around 2016, maybe just before 2016. Because this was before my grandpa passed around that year. Yeah, coming back to work at FedEx, it's like, I don't hold no grudges against him, but at the same time, because my memories of him from before aren't exactly very positive, I just usually tell people, it's like, hey, how does my psychic keep dying? How are you this week? Well, of course I'm not exactly very high level, so it's probably that too. And then what was that? Oh, even before working at FedEx or working with Apple, there is when I went to Job Corps. I was like 16 at the time, and I was there for 2 years. I was 18 when I left, and I was assigned to I was working in the landscaping unit while taking classes in the landscaping unit. And the people I worked with, some of them were cool for the most part, but even they had their days. Well, I wasn't exactly perfect either, but there was like at least 3 of them, all of them girls, who were just so childish in their own right. And there was like one of which was this little girl. She was like the youngest of them, who, man, she was so obnoxious and annoying. She was like one of the youngest people on the campus, but she damn if she didn't try her hardest to act like one of the adults there. But she acted like an adult, or being an adult meant getting on everyone's case, calling people by their full names every time, and nothing like she's the boss. Like, that's what it was. Like an example of a little kid who want to be seen and heard as an adult and be taken serious. Especially to one of my friends in general, she would use that on, where if he didn't do anything according to how she thinks he should do it, she would try to get on his case and be all like, "Because Antonio afraid to get your ass to class, or do this and do that." Even though it's like he was older than both of us. She was 16. I think by the time I met her, I was like 17 at the time. So I was like a year older than her. And he was like, what, 20 at the time? He was 21. And sure, age is usually just a number, but it's also maturity. And he and I were way more mature than her. One of the weirdest things about her was how she would always go around acting. She would be such a bitch to people around her, even her so-called friends. And she would call herself a bitch. Like someone would call out her attitude, her personality traits, or her not-so-savory personality traits. And her only response to that was just, "What do you expect? I'm a bitch." Like somehow that's okay. Like there's admitting it, but then there's also just downplaying it like that makes it okay. Like it was just an excuse. But then she would hear someone else use the word bitch, and they were not even saying it to her. You wouldn't have to talk to her. But if she heard you say the word bitch for whatever reason, she would always say out loud, "I don't like that word," like anyone's supposed to care. Like, first of all, it's not even a racial slur. Second, nobody here cares if you like that word or not. You ain't special to no one here. She was just an attention seeker, want to be seen and heard. And unfortunately, I had her in my landscaping class, so I had to deal with her more often than I would like to. And one of the most annoying things she did consistently was she would get into an argument with people, and depending if the argument's not going in her favor, she would bring up her past about how she was sexually assaulted constantly by her mom's boyfriend and all of his friends. And for me, it's like, yeah, I would not be the kind to say that that's okay, because obviously that isn't. Sexual assault and whatnot, no one should ever have to put up with that. But she would use that as part of her argument every single time. And there was one time she used it on me, and I wasn't even arguing with her or saying anything to her initially. It was someone else I was talking to. It was me and one of my friends in last game that she just happened to be friends with. And we were just joking, messing around. We were just saying yo mama jokes. And for some reason, she took one of my jokes that I said offensively. Like I said, we were never talking to her, but she butted in, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't say that, Jason. He'll come over there and kick your ass." And I'm like, man, why is it always women trying to start shit and get men to fight and act like she's the innocent one? That happened really cool. Oh well. Like she was, apparently that meant she was okay with every Yo Mama joke. Every Yo Mama joke that he said she was okay with, but anything I said, she had to take offensive. And we weren't even actually arguing. Just a classic round of Yo Mama jokes. Like your typical Yo Mama's so ugly, Yo Mama's so fat, Yo Mama's so stupid. And that was it. Heck, I should have just continued my jokes by pointing out how stupid she was. It's weird people do that. Get offended for other people's sake, not being offended because they actually feel that way. It's like, damn, think for yourself. But yeah, but like I said, she was doing all that, and then somehow well, it was just me and him having fun. She ruined it by getting on my case. And again, when I was telling her how about like was none of her business, she was minding her own business, she got all upset. And then started talking about how she was sexually assaulted by her mom's boyfriend, all her mom's boyfriend's friends. And then saying how I don't know what it's like. I'm thinking, first of all, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Second, I told her, you don't know that. You don't know if I know what it's like. Because you don't know me. I guess she just really wanted to believe that what she went through, the sexual harassment and constant sexual assault, was somehow unique only to her. Where the hell's that music coming from? I guess supposed to be coming inside the building. There must some that the projectiles you fire out don't look too cool. It's like as far as the difficulty of the three different types of enemies, from the controlled humans and the cursed civilians and enchanted weapons in this area, the cursed spirits on one side of the stage, like in that direction of the map, and then all the magical creatures in that direction. The magical creatures are like the most difficult or the hardest ones to fight for any character I use. And with the cursed civilians and enchanted weapons being the easiest, the cursed spirits being in the middle. Not as easy as the civilians and weapons, but not as hard as these guys. It makes sense. They may not be human, but they're warriors. So logically, a bunch of tangible, powerful creatures, stronger than the average human, or even some of the most gifted humans, as well as very skilled, will obviously be a bigger threat than a bunch of civilians who don't know what they're doing, what's going on, because they're under some kind of control, some kind of possession. A bunch of spirits that have long since been dead. Man, I just spent the whole time talking about that one girl, just talking about how childish, immature, and annoying she was. But then there was this other girl, I think she was the oldest out of the three. She made being childish and obnoxious literally part of her whole personality trait. Like those girls you see who make videos of themselves talking about how their childishness makes them quirky because they think it's funny and all that other stuff. Constantly acting like a little kid. So that's what she did. It's like she was a full, well, physically she was a grown adult. Well, chronologically, physically she was a very short person, a midget. And her whole thing is how, despite her chronologically being an adult and whatnot, even if she was very short for her age, she acted like as if just being annoying, obnoxious, and acting like a little kid most of the time, even when on the job, was somehow an okay thing. Not to mention, she was like most women that I've seen, where they will straight up assault a guy, punch him as hard as they can, and if the guy so much as calls her a bad word, or any kind of insulting term, somehow her physically assaulting him is somehow nowhere near as bad as his verbal hostility. Like one time she did that where she punched me right in my stomach, knocked the wind out of me, and I got mad, and I obviously, naturally, and rightfully called her a bitch. And not only did she get upset, acting like she was a victim, but there was like two other guys who were there. They were both her friends, and they had the nerve to get on my damn case, like as if me calling her a bitch was a bad thing. I even pointed that out. I was like, okay, so it's okay that I got assaulted, but me calling her a bitch in return is somehow a bad thing. And one guy, he tried to downplay it. He was like, no, I'm not saying that I makes it what she did okay, but just that, I don't know, he tried to just play it off like it was not that bad. And it was obvious he was just trying to do that because he didn't want me reporting her or snitching in that case, as they would say. But personally, I didn't give a fuck. That's what I should have done. I should have just reported it. Like those two were just, they were being simps, especially the one of them was being a simp. The other dude, well, he was gay, so it was no simping on his case. Just him being biased since the girl I called a bitch just happened to be one of his friends. Yeah, it's like some people like that. You gotta be careful who you work with or how you interact with them. The ones who purposely, the ones who purposely act like a child just because they think it's funny. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, only level 30. Well, at least I don't have to be level 30 to get these. Need to drink some water. Ah, some good H2O. Almost said a good OJ. Ain't no damn orange juice I got up in here. But anyways, the last girl, I say definitely the last girl, she was the worst of the three. And maybe that is me being biased on my end because I dated her for a total of just one day. Because she immediately broke up, after we began dating the night before, she broke up with me the very next day. And she said how it was because she wanted to get to know me a little more personally before deciding on dating me. And I just simply, I was okay with that. I just went along and just simply said, okay, and held no grudges. Because I'm thinking, hey, if she wants to break up because of that reason, I'm not gonna get mad or try to fight for the relationship. I wasn't gonna do none of that typical simping stuff. And this was before I heard about things like men going their own way, the typical Western modern woman. I was like 17 at the time. Yeah, there was a lot of that I didn't hear about, or those terminologies. Like the red pill. What was it, been going their own way? Oh, yeah, MGTOW. was the word for all that. How you doing? That's kind of funny. Homeless Harold? Why would you name yourself Homeless Harold? But anyways, so this girl, I dated her for just a short while, and she broke up with me the next day, and I wasn't bothered by it. So it was just, the weird part was how the next day after that, or not the next day after that, but sometime later, she just became this nasty, hostile woman. Like, she was pretty okay and nice in the beginning, but it's like something just caused her to turn over a new leaf. She became mean, nasty, paranoid, nosy. There'd be times where I'm talking to someone else about something that has nothing to do with her at all, and she'll still get all upset, get mad, get annoyed and irritated, like as if what I was ever saying had anything to do with her at all, even though it never did to begin with. Yeah, I don't know why. I just couldn't say anything without her wanting to add her 2 cents to it. She never would have admitted it, but I don't know. I guess just because the fact that we dated for such a short while, somehow she just saw me as an enemy. That's what I was to her, just an enemy. And she was content with treating me like as if I was the worst human being on the planet. Like as if all of her problems in life, I had somehow caused it. I don't think this girl definitely got some kind of, oh, it's just like my grandma said, just sick in the head. Like some kind of mental illness that makes her behave so aggressively, be so hostile for literally no reason, when I didn't do anything to warrant her hostile attitude. She just started hating me. So I guess just because of that alone, she decided she was gonna make my time there at Job Corps just a bad experience. So originally I was talking about people who would purposely act childish because they thought it was funny, and they thought that just pretending to be all passive aggressive and all this other BS just made them funny, when in reality it didn't. It made them annoying and obnoxious, not funny. But some people would like to think otherwise. Which is weird, because they would meet someone who behaves like that, and then they get all upset, get all annoyed and whatnot. It's like, but you behave and act the same way. Part of the usual rules for thee, but not for me, sort of thing. But yeah, the last girl, the one who I dated before she broke up with me the next day, and I didn't say or do anything to her prior to make her want to hate me. She just decided she was just gonna hate me. It's like sometimes you meet that one person where you don't even know what it is, just something about them that makes you not trust them or just find them irritating. That's just like your inner conscience, your gut's telling you, don't trust this person, don't tell this person anything. Don't tell them any more than you need or have to. And then you're just like, ah, okay. My mind is telling me don't trust this person. Be wary of this person. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it is, or most times it is warranted. But I think for her, I don't think it was anything other than just her being, as my grandma would say, just being sick in the head. Because there was really no reason at all for her to be acting towards me the way she did. She just chose to. Like, I'm not gonna hold no grudge. That was a long time ago. Although she did eventually end up getting kicked out of Job Corps long before I completed the program, because she and one other guy who I worked with in landscaping, who was also pretty obnoxious and annoying. And the weird thing is that, like, I was 17, he was 16, so I was like a year older than him. But one of the weird things about Job Corps was that if you were under 18, if you were under 18, you were obviously still a minor. So people would call people like me minor, like as if it's my name or some shit like that. Like they would just refer to you as minor, be like, hey minor, come over here, minor, do this, minor, do that. Just ridiculous. But there was one guy I didn't work with him, but he was one of the people I went to Job Corps with. He was another resident. He just kept calling me minor left and right almost all the time. I mean, eventually he stopped. Like I made it clear how sick of it I was by that point. Ah, dang it, that's what I wanted to do. But anyways, that other kid I worked with in landscaping, he would call me minor, like as if that was my name, just because he thought I was the childish, immature one. But it wasn't just me, but plenty of others who fully acknowledged that he was a kiss ass. Or he was a kiss ass to our supervisor on the campus. But anyways, he and that crazy girl who I dated for a short while, they both ended up getting fired because apparently they were both caught in possession of marijuana on the campus in their rooms. And I don't know if it was like they were both intending to sell or they were both intending to smoke it. It was just that you were not allowed to have any herbal substances or anything you can't that's meant to be smoked. You can't have it except for cigarettes. And even with cigarettes, they had a specific smoking section that's just outside the campus. That's like the only place you're allowed to go to. That's like the only place you can go to do any kind of smoking. Otherwise, you get written up for it. With something like marijuana, you would indeed get in trouble for and get kicked out for being in possession of it, because it was forbidden for you to have on campus. And needless to say, they had it on campus, on their cell, on their person, or in their dorms. However, somewhere they had it, and the staff found out and they got fired. Of course, I didn't do it. I wasn't gonna be petty and do something like rub it in her face. Like I don't know. In my mind, I was just thinking, like I was just acknowledging it, and I was just happy. I was like, finally, I don't have to deal with that bitch and her bullshit anymore. Actually, out of those 3 girls, let's see, it was those 3 girls and that dude. No, I was specifically talking about people who purposely act hostile and obnoxious because they think it's funny or whatever. Yeah, out of all of them, that one short stack girl, that little midget, she was the only one to actually complete the program and leave on her own terms. Everyone else either got kicked out, they got fired because they did something they weren't supposed to, or they quit and just never came back to Job Corps when leaving over break. And like I said, I didn't hate them, but dang were they annoying. I was just like, good riddance. And I think, yeah, I talked plenty of times about my experience in Conservation Corps, which is a lot like Job Corps. And just like with Job Corps, there was people I had to work with. 3 co-workers I had, and my 2 supervisors who themselves had their moments of being very childish and obnoxious for whatever reason. I knew out of the 3 guys, one was the kid who I talked about before, who was a narcissist. The other was the sociopath who would act like everything he says and does is okay. He's allowed to get away with it. His ways of joking, even if it meant full-on harassing people, sexually or otherwise, was okay. And the third one, he was like the narcissistic kid, super hypocritical, and the kind to throw you under the bus and make you look or feel bad. But unlike the narcissistic kid, he'd be the kind to try to intimidate you by acting like he looked or seemed bigger and tougher than you. Let's see, shit like that. And did I mention the paranoia? Because he absolutely had that. Just like the narcissistic kid. Them trying to find, they see you talking to staff or the higher ups, their immediate assumption is that you're talking about them or something that they're doing, or just again the constant paranoia they had. You couldn't say or do anything around them without them wanting to accuse you of something. I'm trying to think. How many other jobs? Oh yeah, there was my job that I worked at for 2 guys in a truck, which was a moving company. Man, let's see. That job, just like when I was originally working in, working at Apple Corporation, both jobs I, to this day, absolutely hated. Be it from the harassment I got from people at Apple, to there was a few people I worked with who were, yeah, it was only like one who was very childish though, where it's like there was like when we had to work, there was these rails we'd use to get items on and off the trucks, and this idiot, for some stupid reason, there was like one day I was working with him and he was walking right behind me as we was going up the ramp to get to the truck, and it's like, you got to be careful going up and down those ramps, because rather 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, regardless if you had any equipment on you or not, you got to be careful, because you could fall off and seriously hurt yourself just from how high off the ground it was. And like I said, this moron, who was one of my coworkers, was walking behind me. He starts bouncing up and down on the ramp like a fucking, and I made it clear I didn't like him doing that, and how it irritated the hell out of me. And his response, just keep doing it some more while making some stupid sound. Like seriously, I even in my mind I'm thinking, this dude must be retarded, because the way he was acting was like how I seen people who are legitimately mentally retarded act. Just act in a way that's just so, I think I already said, how many times have I said obnoxious? Anyways, it was just annoying as hell. And I told him multiple times to stop, but he would just keep doing it. And unfortunately I wasn't able to report him, because I never got his name. But man, I did not feel bad when I stopped working there. Like, when you have a job that is just bad enough, getting fired from that job It's rather like whether if you get fired or you quit, just the idea of not being able to work at that job anymore is not much of a threat when said job is full of guys who just love being so damn annoying. Like, it's unfortunate how many people I've met throughout my life. Rather if it's at jobs, at school, even in college. People who just make being obnoxious, childish, annoying, and hostile to people their core personality. And in their mind, it's all justified. But if you took the exact same stuff to them and did it back to them, even if it was to a much lesser extent, like nowhere near as often, nowhere near as bad or as intense as they did it, they'd still get all angry and flip out on you. Like, my thought would be, I don't know what's going on, but there's something wrong with your mind, whereas you act like that and it's okay. But if I do even a quarter of it, sometimes you ain't got to do it to them if you do it to someone else. They would try to call you out and say how bad it is when you do that, whatever it may be. And you would tell them something like, hold on a second, you do the same thing. And they'll say, oh, well, it's different from me because insert whatever weird excuse here. That's why whenever I worked with people like that, and they would finally get fired, and I wouldn't have to put up with them anymore, I don't go celebrating it, making a huge deal out of it. I just tell myself, thank you, Lord, for getting these people away from me, because I was just about ready to lose my damn mind. I thought there were some people where they didn't get fired, they would just quit on their own. Either way, again, just glad not to put up with it, having to put up with it anymore. And I met people who not only did stuff like that, but some of whom, like that girl I dated for just one day, where for some reason they direct the worst of their attitudes at you. There was absolutely something wrong with her mentally and emotionally, where she would not only need counseling but definitely take some medication for her aggressiveness, her mental health. Something to get her mind and emotions in balance. Now, why would you use venom on the dog? Too bad there's not enough attacks from this set that involves actually just firing beams at people. This one is weird. Open a time warp and teleport destructive projectiles to your enemies.
trying to remember how many jobs did I work overall. Let's see. Job Corps, Conservation Corps, Apple, 2 ends of the truck, FedEx. Okay, I can't FedEx twice. This is my second time working at FedEx currently. Oh, and UPS. And like, there was one of the guys I worked with at UPS, because I all worked as a package, or as a driver helper. In other words, I wouldn't drive the trucks that would deliver the packages. I would just assist, helping to get more packages to people. But it's like, he seemed cool at first, but then he really got annoying as the shifts went on. Like, for some weird reason, and the weirdest part about, one of the weirdest things about it was that he was a married man. But he would ask me every time we would deliver packages, and it'd be to the same people, most of whom we had to deliver to just happened to be women. And he would keep asking me stuff like, you think that woman's hot? You think she's sexy? Should you fuck her? Should you come on her face? Like, he would keep asking me that, and I'll sometimes ask me other questions, like would I let her do anything else sexual to me, if I would do anything sexual to her. Yeah, hey, go in there and ask that woman to do that, do this for you. And it got to the point where eventually I had enough and I just told her to knock it off or I was going to report him to the staff. And I don't know if he forgot, if he was just trying to test my limit, where he did it again. I was like, dude, I told you, and I mean it. You keep this up, I will report to the staff. I ain't putting up with it no more. And at the very least, he did actually stop. But needless to say, it was, well, like I said, I already said it was annoying. But it was also a bit disturbing how every day it was the same question, but about the same women that we had to deliver to. Some of these were just women whose packages we were delivering straight to their homes. And some of them being women who just happened to be whatever employees at a building we were delivering to. And if it's like, for all I knew, these women he kept asking me about either could have been dating or could have been married at that time. So obviously I'm not going to keep on thinking about that. I'm not going to think anything at all sexual about these women who I don't know, never met. But man, he just kept asking me about that until finally I just told him that if he did it again, oh man, he was like, I just told him if he did it again, better be the last damn time. Wait, what time is it? It is 12:07. Oh, I am down to the last battery on my controller. Ain't that a bitch? So I'm gonna finish this little mission up right outside. Now, out of all of those places that I was just talking about, I'd say, which one was the worst experience for me? Because all of those jobs that I worked were all jobs that I worked when I was either 20 years of age or just a little bit older, like 4 or 5 years older. Because I'm 28 now, and so I know how to much better handle, even at those jobs. Usually I was able to handle myself very well by being disciplined and just knowing what the job is and not acting a fool. But as far as dealing with people who just stressed me out and all that, I just knew not to be afraid. And I knew then, but I also know now, not only to not be afraid of reporting them, but sometimes you just gotta tell them to knock that shit off. But some people you work with them long enough and you just know nothing you say is gonna change anything. They're just gonna keep acting like that no matter what and get even worse. Even because you can tell them either straightforward, no emotion, or even ask them as polite as you can. And so it's like if you ask them politely as you can, ask them politely or tell them politely, they're gonna call you a coward, call you a pussy, and tell you to man up or get over it, and expect you to do so. But then if you tell them to in a hostile manner, you either ask them in an aggressive tone or tell them in a hostile tone like, dude, shut the fuck up and let me fucking work, or shut the F up and do this and do that, or stop bothering me. They're just gonna then they're not gonna call you a coward. They're gonna act like you're the only one who's being an asshole the whole time, and either try to report you to the higher ups and try to get you in trouble as a result, or they will try to become hostile and try to attack you. That really only ever affects one opponent. Remember, kids, don't do drugs. Man, it'd be a miracle if one of these days, if I ever get a job where from beginning to finish, I don't have to put up with any nonsense, any BS from them at all. Everyone leaves me alone, lets me do my work, and they only bother me if they truly need something. And I don't have to worry about someone who is physically an adult but mentally and emotionally acts like a child. Because there's a time and a place for everything. And wanting to act like a child every time and expecting everyone else to just go along with it, go along with your childishness, for whatever reason you have to behave that way. Like, it's just no fun to deal with. Cause like, and especially when the one who's acting like that isn't even a boss. It's just one of your coworkers. Like, I'm not your father. I shouldn't be having to worry about telling you to quit acting like this or lecture you on why the way you're behaving is bad. Because if you can't figure that out for yourself, then there's really no hope for this. Well, there's no hope for you. That's not for me. I'm pretty sure plenty of other guys out there are just glad they didn't make being some paranoid, narcissistic child in an adult's body. That's just not the way to go. They were in there around here. Man, them 5 drumsticks and all that soda is really catching up to me. Making me feel tired. I forget. There's a word for it. Some people call it food coma. That's more slang. What's the actual word for it? I don't know. But just something that has to do with where it's like all that food you ate and it causes you to feel tired since you're not actively working off all that food. I remember Dave Chappelle made a skit based on that where he plays a man who's married And his wife asks him what's wrong because he's tossing and turning in bed. And he says how there's a meeting, an all-day meeting he's got the next day, and he can't get to sleep. So his wife fixes the problem by giving him this whole bowl of barbecued beef ribs. I believe it was beef. And he eats the whole thing, and it acts like one of those medical professional infomercials. And well, let's see. They say how the beef ribs that you eat, it goes straight to your stomach. It makes you tired, and next thing you know, you're asleep for the next few hours. And they're saying stuff like, "Works great for when you're trying to go to." Oh, excuse me. When you're trying to go to sleep or whatever it is, just don't want to stay awake for too long. And then it ends with him asleep, her taking the bucket and saying, "Thanks, ribs." Or no, she whispers it, so as to clearly not wake up her husband. And this was on an episode of Scrubs that, oh, no, it wasn't. It was based on the format of that episode from Dave Chappelle, at least that skit. I remember there was some way about how it was formatted and the way it was done. Something about it reminded me of the show Scrubs. I could be wrong. Anyways, so after the woman puts the bucket of beef ribs away and he falls asleep from a food coma, the woman who was the narrator for the infomercial starts listing off a whole bunch of things, like what all that food putting you in a food coma can do to you. One of them being accident, like any shit related accidents, like letting loose of your bowels while you're asleep, or as they call it, mud butt. He's like, "Oh shit, mud butt," right before fully going back to sleep. Man, Chappelle's show was hilarious. I think I'm gonna watch some reruns later on, actually. But that's enough mindless rambling. So maybe even further later on tonight, when my controller's fully charged. I should have done that before I started this stream. So anyways, my controller's fully charged, because it's a very short cord, unfortunately. I'm gonna do that, and hopefully by the time I'm up, I'm more full of energy, well rested after eating all that food, drinking that soda. Yeah, I really probably should have saved that to the weekend. Just feels better. Oh well. Again, enough rambling. I'm gonna take a good long break. Hopefully by the time I stream again, people will still be awake by that time. So I'll see you on the next stream. Have a good night.